welcome to Mindful Healing, a place where we gently explore the deeper truths of life mindfulness and philosophy. Perhaps at some point in your life, you felt helpless in the face of your own anger, a careless word that wounded someone you love, a look of fury that turned the air in your home heavy and cold. And when the storm of anger passed, what remained was a quiet emptiness, along with the weight of regret over something that could never be taken back. I've listened to hundreds of people share moments like this with me, and I'm no stranger to them myself. Through years of studying the Buddhist teachings, what has touched me most hasn't always been the complex doctrines, but rather the humble stories of everyday life, simple yet filled with timeless wisdom. Today I invite you to sit down with me, perhaps with a warm cup of tea, and listen to one such story. It's the story of an ordinary woman who, through a rather unusual medicine, transformed her life and restored peace in her family. It didn't begin with anything dramatic. It began with a very human, very honest question: how can I control my anger? And as he often did, the Buddha didn't respond with a lecture. He told a story, because sometimes it's not advice we need most, but a story, one that quietly seeps into the heart and stays. The Woman and the Nameless Anger. Once upon a time, in a quiet little village, there lived a woman known for her fiery temper. She wasn't a bad person, not heartless, not cruel, but she had one flaw: she was quick to anger. Even the smallest things could trigger her. A misplaced object, a careless word, or a minor disagreement would send her into a fit of rage. In those moments, she would shout, argue, and say things that deeply hurt those around her. But as soon as her anger subsided, guilt would creep in like a shadow at sunset. She felt ashamed. She didn't want to hurt her family, yet again and again she found herself caught in the same pattern: anger, then regret. Her family, those who loved her the most, were growing tired. The house felt heavy. Her husband spoke less. Her children walked on eggshells. And deep down, she didn't want to live like this. But she didn't know how to change. It was as if her anger had become a prison, and she was both the guard and the prisoner. One afternoon, as she sat outside her home, an old wandering monk passed by asking for alms. He paused at her doorstep, sensing something heavy behind her weary eyes. After she offered him a bowl of rice, he gently asked, "My daughter, I see that your heart is carrying something heavy. What troubles you?" Her throat tightened. She didn't answer right away. Then suddenly, her eyes welled up with tears. "Master," she whispered, "I have a terrible temper. I get angry so easily. I try to control it, but I can't. I hurt the people I love. Please tell me, what can I do?" The monk listened quietly and nodded as if he had heard this same story 1,000 times before. Then, reaching into the small cloth bag at his side, he took out a tiny glass vial filled with clear liquid. He handed it to her and said, "This is a medicine for anger. From today onward, whenever you feel rage rising within you, place 4 drops of this liquid on your tongue. Hold it in your mouth for 10 minutes, and no matter what happens, do not speak. If you open your mouth before 10 minutes, the medicine will lose its effect." The woman took the vial carefully, as if holding a last hope. She didn't need lectures or long sermons. She needed a miracle. From that day forward, the woman followed the monk's instructions faithfully. Whenever she felt anger rising, perhaps from a disapproving glance from her husband or a disrespectful word from her child, she would quickly reach for the vial, drop 4 tiny drops onto her tongue, and fall silent. The first few times were difficult. Her chest tightened, her breath quickened. Her mind screamed to respond, to argue, to let her fury out. But she held back, because she believed if she opened her mouth too soon, the medicine would lose its power. And something began to shift. She noticed that the silence gave her space. In that space, the fire of her anger began to cool. By the time 10 minutes passed, she no longer felt the urge to lash out. The storm inside her had passed, leaving behind a strange and unexpected calm. After 7 days, everything in her home had changed. No more shouting, no more slammed doors. Her husband started to speak more freely again. Her children laughed without fear. And she marveled at how something as simple as a few drops could restore so much peace. On the 8th day, the monk returned. The woman ran to him with tears in her eyes. She knelt down and said, "Master, your medicine is miraculous. I don't get angry anymore. My home is peaceful again. I am forever grateful to you." But the monk only smiled gently and said, "My daughter, that vial contained nothing but plain water. There was no medicine. You healed yourself not through what was in the vial, but through your silence." The woman was stunned. The monk continued, "When you held your tongue in the heat of anger, you did not add fuel to the fire. In that silence, the storm passed on its own. You didn't just quiet your voice, you quieted your mind. And that, my daughter, is the true cure." After finishing the story, the Buddha turned to his disciples and smiled. He didn't raise his voice, nor did he condemn anger. Instead, he spoke with quiet clarity. One who is angry is often someone who is hurting inside. In anger, the mind becomes clouded, and the mouth speaks before the heart has time to understand. The words spoken in anger don't just wound others. They are like sharp blades turning inward, cutting the speaker from within. That is why the very first and most powerful remedy for anger is silence. A short pause, just long enough to interrupt the chain of harmful speech, just long enough to choose peace instead of destruction. Because sometimes just a few moments of stillness can save a relationship, a family, or even a lifetime of regret. The Buddha then nodded gently and added, "Silence is not weakness. Silence, when chosen wisely, is wisdom. And silence rooted in compassion is the path of the awakened." Dear friend, as you listen to this story, maybe you're thinking of yourself, of a time you lost your temper, of a moment when words flew out too fast and hurt someone you truly love. Or perhaps you're thinking of someone who's been hurt by your silence or lack of it. Please don't hold on to guilt for too long. Regret is not meant to punish you. It's meant to help you grow and choose a better response next time. If you've been searching for a way to manage your anger, here is a simple practice for you. The next time you feel rage rise, close your mouth. Don't rush to reply. Don't rush to defend. Just breathe. Give yourself 10 minutes, not to suppress but to soften, because often a brief silence is enough to prevent a lifetime of pain, and that silence is your true medicine.